In the sweltering heat of Banfora, 2023, a dusty military compound buzzed with tension. Inside, crates of high-powered rifles and rocket launchers lined the walls of a hidden warehouse. Camouflage-clad men moved like shadows. Most were mercenaries or dealers, their accents hinting at foreign allegiances. Among them stood a tall, dark-skinned officer in plain fatigues, his gaze sharp beneath a worn cap. To them, he was just another Burkinabe soldier. Captain Ibrahim Traoré stepped forward, clipboard in hand. "Inventory check. I'll need to verify these shipments," he said calmly. A laugh burst from the far side of the room. "Who let this farm boy in?" scoffed a pale, heavy-set man with a Canadian flag stitched onto his vest. His name was Victor Laroche, head of a shadowy Canadian arms company supplying weapons under the radar. "You," Laroche sneered. "You don't even look like you've fired a gun. Get out, peasant. This isn't your playground." Traoré's expression didn't change. "I'll need access to the back crates." A tall man beside Laroche, clearly another foreign contractor, added with a grin. "Maybe he thinks this is the market. You want to trade goats for grenades." Laughter erupted from the group. Phones came out. Someone muttered, "Get this on video." Traoré stood his ground. "I will report this." Before he could move, 2 private guards shoved him hard. He stumbled, falling to one knee. One guard cracked a baton across his back. The crowd jeered. "Know your place," a Frenchman shouted. As the guards dragged him out of the warehouse, one man whispered, "Record it. This is gold." The video showed a silent Traoré being humiliated and thrown out into the dust. No one knew who he really was. The clip spread like wildfire through encrypted channels, passed among mercenaries like a joke. "Burkinabe soldier thinks he owns the place," the caption read. In the video, Traoré's face was calm, even as he was kicked, mocked, and tossed aside. Inside the compound, Victor Laroche strutted with arrogance. "That's the problem with this continent," he told a British associate. "Give them a uniform and they think they run the world." The Brit laughed. "He should be grateful. At least we let him live." Meanwhile, Traoré regrouped outside the compound. Bruised but steady, he radioed a secure line. His tone was cold, decisive. "Code black. Deploy Alpha Team to Banfora. 10 minutes." Back inside, a few local soldiers murmured uneasily. Something about the officer's calm didn't sit right, but the foreigners ignored the tension, cracking open beers and boasting about their contracts. "Canada's making a killing here," said a smirking contractor. "Soon we'll own every outpost between here and Ouagadougou." One guard chuckled. "And what's Burkina Faso going to do? File a complaint?" Laroche laughed. "Let them. We'll buy the court." Just then, a siren wailed in the distance. Not an alarm, something heavier. Military grade. Outside, the dust kicked up from approaching armoured vehicles. Locals scattered. The Canadians looked at each other, confused. "What the hell is that?" someone asked. From the shadows, Traoré reappeared, no longer hunched, no longer silent. His uniform was replaced with his formal military attire. His insignia gleamed. The guards froze. "Secure the perimeter," he ordered, voice firm. Soldiers in national uniform poured in behind him. Laroche blinked. "What is this?" Traoré turned to him slowly. "You said I don't belong here. Allow me to introduce myself properly." The air turned electric. One of the Canadians reached for his radio, but a Burkinabe commando snatched it away. Others raised their rifles. The foreign contractors were surrounded. Traoré stepped forward. "I am Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso." Gasps filled the warehouse. Laroche paled. His arrogant smirk evaporated. You're the president," he stammered. Traoré nodded. "And what I've just witnessed is treasonous conduct on sovereign soil." The British contractor tried to speak. "This is a misunderstanding." Traoré cut him off. "No misunderstanding. You insulted my people, assaulted a head of state, and illegally trafficked arms. You will face justice." Laroche sank to his knees. Mr. President, I didn't know. Please, it was a joke. Traoré's voice was cold steel. You thought your money and whiteness made you untouchable. Not here. Not anymore. He raised his hand. Seize the foreigners. Lock the compound. Within minutes, the arms dealers were handcuffed. Evidence was collected. Photos, documents, recordings, all sent straight to the United Nations. Traoré turned to the national press team. Let the world see what justice looks like. 2 days later, a UN statement confirmed the violations. The Canadian company's license was revoked. International operations were frozen. Assets were seized. Traoré returned to the compound, now flying the national flag. He walked the halls once used for backdoor deals and declared, "This base belongs to Burkina Faso. It will now serve our people." Weapons intended for private warlords were redirected to local military units. Defense forces cheered. Across the country, screens flashed headlines. President exposes arms ring. The video of his humiliation and his rise went viral. Millions watched Laroche kneeling in the dirt. A new name trended worldwide: the man who killed the shadows. Months later, the warehouse had transformed. No longer a den of weapons trade, it stood repurposed as a military academy. Young recruits marched with pride, bearing their nation's flag. Traoré stood at the podium during the inauguration. "From betrayal, we build strength," he said. "From insult, we forge unity." The compound's walls now bore murals, images of resistance, dignity, and hope. In one corner, a faded screenshot of the original video was captioned with bold letters: "Never again." Throughout Burkina Faso, celebrations erupted. Markets were vibrant, streets alive with song. People danced not just in joy but in pride. Children chanted his name. Graffiti read, "Justice is African." The government had seized Laroche's frozen assets, using them to build schools and clinics. One school bore the name Freedom Academy. Traoré personally attended its ribbon cutting, shaking hands with villagers, lifting children onto his shoulders. On social media, the hashtag #JusticeByTraore trended globally. In interviews, African youth said they felt seen, respected. "He didn't just fight for us," one student said. "He showed the world we are not small." International reactions were mixed. Some praised the boldness. Others, particularly those with economic interests, issued quiet protests. But Traoré stood firm. "I am not against the world," he told the press. "I am for my people." The Canadian arms company collapsed under legal pressure and global boycott. Forced into bankruptcy, it issued a public apology and was ordered to pay restitution to the Burkinabe state. As dusk fell over Banfora one evening, an elder woman approached Traoré. She took his hand and whispered, "You did not just take back a warehouse. You gave us back our pride." He nodded, eyes misty. "And we will never lose it again." The sun dipped behind the hills as drums echoed into the night. Burkina Faso had spoken.